Good morning, everybody. There's somebody else watching besides me. Good morning, good morning. I'll give everybody like a minute to show up. While we are waiting for that, I have camera issues. Okay. Hi now. I don't know why you guys aren't seeing the picture and only hearing me and the screen is black. I have no idea. Hold on one second. Okay, that is really weird. So that camera works. Hello. I don't know why the other one's not working. Oh, there we go. Yay! Woohoo! Okay, we got it. Okay, yay. It's one thing to see my face, but it's not really what we're here for. Okay, good morning, good morning. Nell, your box is being picked up this morning. So I have, good morning. I know there's 6 of you watching and I welcome, and we're gonna work on some bonus December daily stuff today. I'm gonna do a little painting to start out with. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please put them in the chat or leave them as a comment on the video after the copy of the recording goes onto my channel. You always can private message me and leave something in one of my Facebook groups, links of which are in the video description. Yeah, everyone is overwhelmed. The stores are out of stock on stuff. Like, it's just crazy. And we just, I've been making a concerted effort when I do go out, which of course isn't often because hello COVID, and when I do safely, to say please and thank you, especially to the retail workers. And if it wasn't for me being so scared of COVID, honestly, I have thought seriously about going back to work part-time in retail because they're so overwhelmed and they need people so badly. And I actually like working retail. I like the customer service part. Anyway, okay. So we have these 2 skyscape photos that I've taken with my phone, and I'm going to be posting these to the My Creative Year and A Life of Art and Self-Expression skyscape albums later today. But for right now, I have them and I've printed them for reference. Yeah, definitely now. And, when they are feeling overwhelmed or a customer is, misbehaving, You know, even before the pandemic, I was that person that went up to the clerk and, you know, when it was my turn and there was somebody rude in front of me, I said, okay, just stop and take a deep breath. I'm going to be an easy customer. And Petra, good morning or good evening, I guess, where you are in the world. And I want to thank everyone ahead of time before we even get started for your support, either here in the YouTube membership, on Patreon, or by shopping in the Etsy shop. I appreciate it so very, very much. If you don't watch Mike Deacon's channel, Mike Deacon Art, and or you haven't seen one of his latest vlogs where he talks about YouTube monetization, and you have a YouTube channel, go check his channel out and check out, I think it was last week's vlog. It might have been the week before that, but he talks about some changes he made to his monetization on his channel. And when last time YouTube did an update of the YouTube Studio, Creator Studio, we think did some automatic changes to monetization, which you can go back and undo. And it seems that if you undo them, your monetization money that you're making, which still isn't a great, huge deal, goes up because it was tanking for everybody. So anyway, that little business stuff. So we'll get that out of the way. So if you have a YouTube channel and it's monetized, go check out his vlog because I tried his changes and they did work. I'm going to take off the autofocus and zoom in just a little bit. Let's see. Because that popping in and out thing is going to be not fun. Okay. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is normally I prop my pictures up on the iPad, which is in front of me, but I need to be able to see your chat, so that won't work. He did, it's a part of his vlog, and Nell, it's at the end of his vlog. And he talks about it he talks about having monetization issues with this channel in a couple different vlogs, but at the end of, I think, the last vlog, he talks about the changes that he made. I can get you the link later, but yeah. And I had to kind of go hunt and fish around for it, but I did find it, and it worked. And basically, you have to, when they updated the Creator Studio, it appears, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it appears that they set the monetization to automatically do pop-up mid-roll ads. So in the middle of your video, it will cut out to an ad. I wasn't aware that my channel was set like that, but it was. And I went and checked, and his was too. And as soon as I took it off, the monetization is crawling back upwards. Now, it's not fabulous still, but it's better than it was. Okay, so we have taped off a border because I like to have a straight border. It's not exactly straight though, is it? Holy cow, that's a little crooked. Let's see if we can get it a little straighter, shall we? Maybe. Yeah, we as a YouTube creator community try to, help each other out that way. And usually we do videos and or message each other behind the scenes. Kathy, hello. Your package went out last week. Hopefully I got it right this time. Poor Kathy. I get her orders wrong all the time. It's always Kathy's orders. All right, so we are going to do I want to do a little snowy skyscape. We're going to do a bonus December daily page. But before we do that, I want to do a little bonus sort of snowy skyscape. And I printed these two sort of sunset pictures. I think I'm going to do something inspired by this darker one, but I want, but they both would work. So we're going to start with the flat brush. Oh, yay, I got it right. Woohoo. I'm going to start with this sort of mid-tone grayish blue sort of periwinkle color. This is gouache paint, which I am very much loving right now. It is really my jam. I love how matte finish it is. I love that you can water it down and get sort of a watercolory finish. This is a water-soluble gouache, so if it dries up in my palette, then I don't have to worry about wasting paint. I didn't plug the heat tool in before I got started, but I guess if I need it, it's not a big deal. It also dries pretty quickly. Now, I do want to do something with some tones of yellow, orange, or red at the bottom, but you want to be careful about pulling the blue too far down, because if it's an orangey red, it's going to just make brown, and you don't want a brown sky. Well, I mean, unless you want a brown sky, but then that would be weird. Just saying. Now you could do this really pink here, because it'll just make purple, and there's some purple in the inspiration photo. And the purple and the orange or yellow next to each other will make a nice color. But you just don't want any like oranges or yellows near the blue. I need to turn off that overhead light, don't I? Because it's totally reflecting in the... That's probably better. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. So how is everybody doing right now? I hope you're all doing well. Oh, good. Yeah, my daily drawing bag downstairs has a lot of sticker flakes in it right now, because I have a habit of just grabbing a bunch of stuff and bringing it down there. Problem is there's too much, and it's not like my studio is far away. So I have been using this. I don't know what this is. It is too painty. I don't have any idea, but it's like a short, stubby filbert brush. It's really old and probably past it. But I just kind of use it as a scrubby. Now this is mixed media paper, so you don't want to do too much like rubbing on the paper, because it's going to start to break down. But while the paint is wet, I'm going to just blend it a little bit and move things around. I'm going to add a little white down here to the bottom. Yeah, you know, I think I just, you know, I make new sticker flakes, and then I'm like, ooh, that would be good in the drawing bag downstairs. But the problem is I think that with everything, and again, it's not like my studio is like far away and the drawing bag's like, you know, in another house or something. It's just downstairs. And it gets too full. I have a habit of just dumping things. Okay, so I'm going to just take a little of the white circular kind of scrubbing motions. Again, very gently though, because we don't want to have the paper start to break down. I bought a bunch of Mike Deacon's digital downloads last week, and I want to spend some time making them into stickers too. So if you're painting and you're like, I don't know about this painting thing, because when I try it, you know, my painting just looks like crap. I have news for you. Every single time I paint anything, there is a point during the process where I look at it and go, well, that's really ugly. Every single time. So if you're feeling that way, don't feel alone. So I'm just going to slowly add some like darker whites. Or I should say undiluted white. Straight from the pan. I asked for more of these Himi gouache for Christmas because I am loving working with them so much. I am thinking about transitioning my craft acrylics to all acrylic gouache and these water-soluble gouache. That's how much I love them. I just love the flat matte finish rather than the shiny finish you get on a lot of your craft paints. So I just want the suggestion of a cloudy, stormy sky. I'm going to grab some gray. Hopefully not too much. No, that's good. It's watered down enough that it's all right. I want to add some gray. I love it because you can, it's just so much more versatile than your regular craft acrylics. You can use it in your journals. You don't have to worry about things sticking together as much. It's really easy to draw over. You don't have a problem with your pens not wanting to draw over it. It's just fabulous. So Petra, the secret to not overworking the piece, listen to your inner voice. Because I don't know about you, but my muse has usually been there at some point telling me to stop. And then when I don't, and it turns out all messed up, she just is like, see, I told you. And, at some point, if you like it, even if it's not what you were shooting for, just stop. You can always go back to it later. Let's see, here we go. So I'm going to use my thin round brush and I'm going to just add some white. Pick out the light spots. And also, Petra, just practice and messing up things. One of the reasons I started art journaling was because I felt like, and still feel like, I could try some things in my journals before committing them to something that's going to hang on the wall. And if I messed it up, it wasn't like a big deal because nobody was necessarily ever going to see the journal. I rarely get rid of any journals. In fact, I don't think I actually ever gotten rid of any art journals. I've gotten rid of a couple of other things, but not art journals. And something, as sort of abstract and low stress as these little skyscapes, these are great to practice with. Okay, I'm going to need a little dish for this next part. Let's see. Okay, we're going to grab some of the white. My only problem with these Himi gouache is the white is going to run out really fast. So that was one of the reasons I've asked for some more for Christmas. And the refills are really hard to get in here in the United States. I kind of wish I knew somebody in Japan so they could just send me a box. So I'm going to try doing this without getting it everywhere, which, okay. And this little bit of gouache, I can let this dry because this is water soluble, and then I can use it again. So I can just like put it right here. Okay. Let's clean up the mess we just made. Yeah, I'm really deciding that I'm not a shiny girl either, Kathy. And when I am, I go all out with metallics or glitter. But other than some of my fine art paints that I really don't want shiny paints for most of my work, So I'm going to be using things up in our purging. That being said, craft paints are a great place to start, but a lot of places a lot of companies are making matte craft paints. So I would say go for the matte finish, especially if you're going to use it in your journal. There's no secret to this. So this is a little like soy sauce dish from the supermarket. This is a proper like flower shaped watercolor palette that I probably paid way too much for, but you can get these all over the place fairly inexpensively, probably more than I paid. And then this is from Tap Plastics. It's just like a mini Lazy Susan. It was $2.30. I bought it last year, I think. Tap Plastics is a store that sells just things made out of plastic and display pieces and stuff like that. They have a website, TAP Plastics. Okay. Hello, Laura. So now we get to peel our tape. I go through more painter's tape. Okay, we need a black pen. Okay. Always sign your work, people. Something I'm bad about doing. Learn from my example of what not to do. Alrighty, so we will put now these. So in case anybody missed it, these are a set of the Himi jelly gouache that are very popular all over YouTube right now. They are a student grade kids paint, I believe, from Japan. I believe Japan, maybe China. I really love them. They're inexpensive. They have good coverage. They're water soluble. So they're jelly paints and they're advertised as something that's not going to dry out. They do eventually dry out, but because they're water soluble, you just add water to them. You saw what I did to the palette. That's the same paint from here. I asked for another bigger set for Christmas, and my idea is to use it to supplement this one with colors when I run out. All right, now we can get our December daily out. It is another rainy, crazy day here in Portland, which, you know, I do live in Oregon, so. Well, I've had this one for, I don't know, a couple months. And I haven't used it that much. I've been using it more lately than I have been since I bought it. And you can see right away that I'm going to run out of white. There, you can see which colors I'm using more of by which ones have a bigger hole. So it just depends on how you paint and what you know, which colors you're using. I'm going to push this up a little bit right now. You guys are seeing it with my hashtag in the way. There we go. So you can see right away what colors I am using up mostly. Now, the bigger set that I asked for Christmas has more white in it because that's the one I'm going to need most. It also has more pastel colors in it and more cooler colors than this set does. But just, you know, depending on what your budget is, there's a bunch of them on Amazon. And if you just Google, if you just search jelly gouache, you're going to find a whole bunch of them. Yeah, that's cold, Laura. It's not that cold here. It's just really wet. I mean, it is chilly, but it's in the 40s. It drops down to the low 30s at night, but we haven't gotten any snow or ice yet. So yeah, so generally speaking, when you're using this kind of paint, in my experience, the way I use it, I usually run out of white first. So white, I can get white refills, but I have to go through a website like AliExpress or something. Yes, yes. So this periwinkle blue and the lime green. I also am kind of liking this sort of lavender color and this pinky red. So, and some of them are getting like a crust on them, but again, all you would do is just spray them with water and they would come right back. So I'm not too worried about them drying out. And they do come with this lid that snaps on. And again, this has been a couple of months and they're just starting to get a little bit of a crust on them. They have stayed moist. I haven't done anything like spray them with water or anything. Okay, before we get started with that, we need to pick a card for today. Yeah, that's cold. But I'm really liking the jelly gouache, and I also have some acrylic, Holbein acrylic gouache, and they're great too. They're a regular like matte finish acrylic paint. They call it acrylic gouache, but it's a matte finish acrylic paint. I love the box, and I would say right now in the US, the easiest way to get more colors or refills is probably just to order another cheap set that has at least one of the color that you're out of in it. And if you get like too many boxes, then just repurpose them for like bead storage or embroidery floss or something. So our word is receptive. So now we need to find the sticker. I did let the patrons know that I have, after literal years of having these positive affirmation cards on my website, spelling is not my strong suit, obviously, because there was a spelling error in one of the words that's been there since day one. I did not know. I found it and I fixed it. And I uploaded a new file to Etsy and I gave a new copy of it to the patrons. If you have purchased this file from my Etsy shop, I did fix the Etsy listing. Go back and see if you can re-download it, because Radiant should not be IE, it should be IA. Just FYI. That was a sneak peek. Ah, there you go. All right, so this is the bonus page from last week. So I'll put our protectors. I had no idea, and I was putting the quote on when I used the word radiant, and I realized it was spelled with an A in the quote and an E on my card. And so then I went back and Googled it, and I was like, well, that's not right. So anyway, I think first what we're going to do is I have a bunch of these, which are from wrapping Christmas presents. And I think we're going to cut some Christmas trees out to start. I'm going to need my reading glasses for this because, yeah, all right. So this is some paper that we use to cut Christmas presents. Holy cow, to wrap Christmas presents. Mostly for the two girls, my daughter and her friend Jenny, kind of our adopted kid. The only people that we see during this whole thing, especially now that things are bad. Anyway, I had some of this paper left over and it had some of these little trees on it. And I thought, I kind of want to use those trees in my journal. So I saved some scraps. You don't have to buy fancy stuff for your journals. Just use what you have. Use the scraps. Use the junk. Make your own embellishments. Get a digital download from your favorite Etsy creator or your favorite YouTube creator, and then print it onto sticker label paper or sticker paper or something. I mean, buying stuff to use in your journals is all well and good, but you don't need to have that. And one of the things I saw the other day on my Life Mitts channel, she was working on her December daily, and she printed the pages on old printer safe overhead projection sheets, which I have. And that was a good idea. And they're little like mini transparencies. And I thought, well, you could definitely do the dates on that, but you could also just print some of your digital downloads on that and cut them out and use them in your journals as like tip-ins, and you could see like what's behind it. That would be cool. No, Kathy, I don't even remember where I got this wrapping paper. But it was probably like an after Christmas clearance sale from somewhere. Probably Fred Meyer would be my guess. But it could have been Target or something. Or, Joann's or Michael's, or those are the places I go to. I really don't go, any place special. Target, Joann's, Fred Meyer, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. It's from one of those places. Every now and then I'll go to TJ Maxx or something, but that's not real common. It's usually when I'm reorganizing storage or something, looking for something for the house that I can't find online or I can't find somewhere else. Like the new drawers on my desk. I literally could not find them online anywhere. Not in the right size. And I was like, I gave up on it and was figuring I was going to have to do something else. And then I found the clear storage drawers at TJ Maxx. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's coming out in tomorrow's vlog, so no worries. But I just reorganized my table. Right? The transparencies were like, I was watching her and I'm like, that's kind of brilliant. I need a little piece of paper. I've got my little box of like embellishment bits down on top of the garbage can under the table. Yeah, so then you have to plan then when that happens, and like save up a list. I have a few shops that are kind of far away, like IKEA, and it's not super far away, but it's not like around the corner or anything either. And so when the kids are going, especially now because we have COVID, we have worked out a system where, they let me know that they're going and they ask, do you need anything? And all four of the kids do that. We do that with all kinds of stuff. But yeah, and, then I'll say, yeah, like right now I need some of the IKEA, what are they? The fried onions. I love those in my salad. Okay, we need a to-do list. I think some of these snowflakes will look good with the Christmas trees, maybe. Maybe, baby. Let's see about some of these. I think that's the wrong color. Maybe that. Maybe that. Just pulling out options from my box under the table. Oh, except maybe not that one, maybe this one. That's created with my Art Foamy stamp and watercolor. Hey, Aunt Beck. Oh, nice. All right, let's see if there's any of these rainbow stickers that will work colorways. There might not be because I think I've used up all the sort of more muted colors. Maybe. We'll see. We'll leave those two out and we'll see. Yeah, we're going to have to do something about our cars soon at some point. I also need a label. Now, I was thinking when this was all said and done that I was going to throw these labels away. But I have to tell you all, I think I'm going to be doing this version of a December daily again next year. And because I didn't put the year on these, I can just reuse these labels. So I think I'm just going to do that. Okay, let's see what I want for my title. I think I want a piece of this weathered wood paper. I think I want a piece of this. We've barely driven either one of our cars much this year so far at all. I don't know about you guys. Like Bob has a sports car, but it's, for the most part, it's been in the garage. But my car is old, so at some point it's going to need replacing. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I do drive a Subaru, so I mean it's running really well. The biggest issue I'm going to have soon is it's going to need another oil change, which is only going to be the second one in 2020 because I don't drive the car that much. But I'm probably going to need new tires. I kind of would like to upgrade my car because I would love, I don't need it, but I would love a car that holds, which our old GMC Envoy had, and holy cow, that was convenient. I don't know if y'all have noticed in any of the vlogs, but there's quite a height disparity between Bob and I. And when he's been driving my car, or I've been driving my car, he's going to go in, we're switching drivers, then it's a pain in the neck to make all the adjustments. And the new ones have driver 1 and driver 2. Don't need it, but in my dream world, I need it. Yeah, so when you don't owe much and it's starting to have problems, I hate fixing cars and I hate getting stuck somewhere. Like that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I'm just picking back. I know I want to use those trees, so I'm picking collage backgrounds that I think color-wise will go with the trees. I've got our word in front of me. I'm using Yoo-hoo. I'm not using anything fancy. The trick with your glue sticks in your journals, use a lot of it. See you later, Aunt Beck. Good luck with the car hunt and the job hunt. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can put that there. We can put some of our trees in. I'll lay them on there and see what happens. Yeah, okay. We're going to keep going. I'm going to follow those instincts because I'm liking where this is headed. I should move my thing up a little bit so you guys can see it better. Somebody needs to tell me that. Yeah, so Yoo-hoo, Elmer's Extreme. I guess in the UK or in Europe, a Pritt stick. But yeah, you know, especially when you're working in a journal like this one that has thinner paper, the glue stick works great. Your papers don't warp. The only thing with the glue stick is you have to wait like a minute for it to dry before you can do too much writing because you can't really write over the glue while it's wet. Just like those shiny paints. They don't work either. Okay. A couple more trees and maybe a couple snowflakes, we'll see. Well, the Elmer's Extreme, Laura, is, I don't know about up in Canada, but down here, it's easier to find for whatever reason than the Yoo-hoo. Of course, right now, I just, get stuff on Amazon, but, and when I moved, I had a whole case, I had 12 of these, so I don't need any Yoo-hoo right now because I still have some, but the Elmer's Extreme is easier to find than Yoo-hoo in the store, which I don't understand. Okay, I like that. Before we do anything else, let's put our label. What did I write on the other one? Bonus page. Helps if I put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. What's the date today? The 15th? Yeah, yes, paste works. I find for me, I have to water it down. Yeah, they're cute, aren't they? They were off that wrapping paper. I don't know where I got it from originally, but it's cute wrapping paper. So I pulled these out, but I don't think I'm going to use them. I don't need them. But the question is, am I going to use some snowflakes? Because, yeah, maybe. Maybe, but, don't tell Bob that. For those that don't know, he's first generation American. His dad was born in Hamburg. And, oh my God, we found a local, this is off art topic. We found a local Bavarian deli that has Stollen. For those that don't know what Stollen is, it's a German fruit cake, German Christmas cake. And, I'm Italian. We have panettone and, there's American fruit cake. I don't really care for any of them. It's something about the candied fruits they put in it. I like the German version. But there was a particular one, Dresden or Stollen is really the one I liked and really couldn't find it in a store anywhere, not in California anyway. Anyway, I found some, it's not Dresden or Stollen, but it's a different one. And oh my God, it is so good. I don't want to put that one there. Let's see. Let's put this one here. Okay. Thank you, Petra. But yes, I love Stollen. It's my kryptonite, as I said to my husband last night, especially at this time of year. It's bad. I love it. A couple of pieces of Stollen with some butter on them. Oh, Kathy, that's a good idea. And I would love to know if that would work. And I'm thinking as you're saying that, I think a whole bunch of us would love to know if that would work. I'm going to have to cut more snowflakes. I'm running out. Anyway, we were going to head back to Europe and maybe Germany this year, and then COVID hit. I love that. And I wanted to use this here. I think we're still going to. How cute does that look? Let's see. Let me move over to the right, my right a little bit. Okay, I like the way that looks. We're going to need to tip that in, which I need some tape for. And I think I'm just going to use one of my favorite tapes, which is masking tape. Hold on one second. Let's do this. There we go. Masking tape. Plain old brown paper masking tape. You know, I just started collaging on here and I forgot about the little painting, which was right there in front of my face. And then I went, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let's tip this in with some masking tape. So we're going to put this on the back to start. Yeah, you know, your art journal pages don't have to be about like trying to create, you know, some masterpiece piece of work or anything. They just need to express how you're feeling. You can use them, as I have done plenty of times, as experiment pages for trying new, you know, techniques and new compositions. Nobody ever has to see them but you. Okay, no problem, Kathy. I'll be here. So I'm going to use this card to fold this against so we can get a straight line. There we go. And then we'll put some more masking tape right there as soon as I find the end. There we go. Hey, Linda. So I always tip things in by putting a piece of paper on the tape on the outside, but then I flip it out and I always have tape on the inside also. I find that over time, it holds it in better if you do that. Whether you're using washi tape or masking tape. Now, if you're using washi tape is for the most part made to be removable. So you may find if you want to use washi tape that you need to put a little bit of glue under there, whether it's Yoo-Hoo or tacky glue or Yes Paste. Otherwise, the glue may come up. Oh yeah, Petra, that sounds like a great plan. We were there in 2001, right before September 11th. And except for September 11th, which, you know, that wasn't fun. But that happened when we got back. We were there over the summer, and Germany is a beautiful country. And you all are so patient with Americans like me who can sort of say sprechen Sie English, and then when you say nein, like that's the end of the conversation, because, you know, it's pretty much all I can say. Although I can point out things on the menu because I know what rouladen is and I know what spätzle is. I make it here at the house. So again, my husband is German, so. And oh my God, I love Stellan. I said that already, didn't I? All right, so I'm loving where this is going. And I love the way this looks very, very much. I'm thinking we can put our quote back here and I can put my thoughts right here. That's really pretty. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to find a quote to use on the page that has something to do with the word receptive. So let's go here. And let's Google something. Oh, you know, it's helpful if I have my glasses on and I spell things correctly. Did anybody besides Kathy notice last night that I left a word off on my daily journal page in the quote? I did fix it later in the comments, but I didn't change the post. I think it's funny. You can tell I was stressed out and distracted. Okay, I don't want to quote about death. We are doing positive affirmation quotes. Let's see. Nope. Sometimes it takes longer to find the quote than it does anything. I don't want anything about work. Hey, Scrap Chic, hello. Good morning. That would be a lie about my family, so let's not go there. Nope. Looking for a receptive quote, you guys. Kathy, I was just telling everybody that you were the only one that noticed I left a word out of the quote in last night's daily journal page. I did fix it, but I'm not changing the post. Okay, this is a good one. Finally found one. I'm very receptive to direction, to change, and to developing myself as an artist and a human. The quote is from somebody named Aquaria. That's not bad. Let me just scroll. Oh, this one might be better. What helps me go forward is that I stay receptive. I feel that anything can happen. Thank you. I appreciate that. So once we find a quote, we'll write it back here. These are easy pages. They're not about drawing, big, fancy, complicated pieces of art or anything. And they're just about expressing what you're feeling right now and trying to stay positive and focus on the positive stuff, despite the fact of what's going on in the world at the moment. And, it's not your traditional December daily from what I've seen now after I started it by any stretch, because I don't have any Christmas holiday pictures in here or anything like that. And our to-do list is sort of things we can do to stay positive and help improve ourselves. So yeah, anyway. Okay, now we can put our quote. And I'll try not to miss any words. Oops. Like I did last night. I also like all of you all who do journaling and do journaling videos. I like seeing your handwriting in the journal, whether it's cursive or whatever, just and messy or neat. I appreciate that. And so I purposefully tried to develop a style of writing for my journals that was kind of irregular and just kind of unique, and because I think it adds to the texture of the page when you're done. Yeah, agreed. And the positive affirmations are much needed right now, and it helps me stay focused. I almost wrote focused. Okay, wait. Then go back and dot my I's. Hopefully I didn't miss any words this time. So yeah, so I love the positive affirmation aspect of this December daily. And of course I started it because of everything that's going on in the weird December that we're going to have. I do have to say I've gotten such a response about the December daily and the positive affirmation aspect of it. It may be something we continue going forward on the channel and in the Facebook art groups. So you guys let me know what you think about that. Now that we have our quote and we've got all of our decor on the page, now I want to do my thoughts on all of that. So I'm going to just take a piece of notebook paper. Okay, those are my thoughts on, and they're going to go right about there. Right about there, I think. And you also don't have to worry. The other thing I want to say is don't worry about filling up the entire page. It's not about covering up all of the paper in the background. You can create, thank you. You can create some interesting movement on the page by leaving some of that empty space, that blank space. I really tried hard to, you know, as part of this, I started doing this kind of sort of journaling a couple months ago. And what it did make me do was work on my handwriting, because, you know, like most of us, we've kind of, it's use it or lose it. And in this modern computer age, that's all great and all, but we don't handwrite things too much anymore. And I noticed my handwriting was getting really bad. And this has made me like really work on that. So this thoughts on the quote and the word receptive also bring in the little painting, like snowy, stormy sky painting that I tipped in. So now we need to work on our to-do list. What are the positive affirmations sort of things that we want to work on that have to do or are inspired by this page? Like in the last one, our word was enlightened, and we put learn, grow, be, listen, and notice. That was a sneak peek. Okay. So let's see. One that I always need to do. I do have anxiety issues, so breathe. Breathe is something I always need to remind myself to do. The words are going to be different for you, and they might be more descriptive or less descriptive, or they might, you know, be more than one word. There's no wrong way. I tell all my students, there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's just your way. And yeah, I'm with you, Scrap Chic. I'm with you. You know, the only thing I write anymore before this was grocery shopping lists, and those got pretty messy. Listen is a good one, and listen is in this journal a lot. Listen, breathe, look, but then also see, because you can look but not necessarily see and fully comprehend what's in front of you. Do something, whether it's say please and thank you at the store, or it's, you know, smiling with your eyes over the mask at a neighbor when you're walking around the neighborhood, and just be present. And, you know, be there if, you know, friend or family member needs to talk, if they're struggling. Don't shy away from, you know, all of those difficult conversations that we're needing to have right now. Everybody needs to have right now. It doesn't need to be the focus and only conversation, but it is definitely a conversation that people need to have now and then. Holding it in isn't healthy. My hands are so dry, you guys. Seeing is different than looking, and you'll find a lot of times on my journal pages that both of these are on here. I think this might be one of my favorite pages. This is a cute page. And some of these papers are scrapbook papers that I bought. Some, like this one, is something I stamped on just dollar store drawing paper with watercolor and some of my art foamies. Nothing special. Cheap stuff. And the dollar store is walking distance. I don't know that that's a good thing. I think it might be a bad thing. So we did that. What do you say we do another one of these? We have a little time. It's a little early. What would you guys like to see other than this? Kathy, I know you were asking me about the eyeball journal. If that's something you all want to see a flip of, because I don't know that I've done a flip of the eyeball journal. I can go get it. It's in the other room, but it would take me a second. All right, hold on. We'll do another skyscape. Let me go grab that eyeball journal. Hang on one second. We've got plenty of time for both. See, literally, I told you it wouldn't take me much time. And then I'll pull out this one too. Is that the right one? Yeah. Okay, so this is the eyeball journal. It's going to be... Okay, you should be able to see it well if I don't move it around too much. So I decided, I have a bunch of these little tiny watercolor journals. This one is a Pentalic journal. This one's a moleskin. They're very similar. I have to say I don't really have a preference of one over the other. Probably if I did have to say I have a preference, it's the moleskin just because it's less expensive, but they're the exact same size. The spine on the Pentalic is a little thicker, which probably means it has a little more paper in it. But they're both fine. Whatever one is near you, if you're interested in getting one. Now this one has a pen loop on it. The moleskin doesn't have that. They both have an elastic band. So if there's something that you are going to take like traveling or something, you can keep them closed. These are the kind of journals that I have in my travel art bag. I have a moleskin one. And they both have a pocket in the back. So you can put ephemera, little notes and things in the back. Okay, so I don't know what got me started on this, but I decided I wanted to do like a themed watercolor journal, and I would practice doing eyeballs. I'm not sure why. I don't remember now why I got started doing this, but I did. And I started with this one. It's my husband's eyeball. And then there's a couple of different artists on social media that do sort of these crazy abstracted Picasso-esque faces and things. I thought I would take some inspiration from some of that and I would do one of the eyeballs like this, and then I would do the same eyeball in this kind of weird doodly style, like on the back. So that's what I did, and this whole book is done that way. So and then also what I did is I started collecting inspiration images, which we'll get to that in a minute. And so I took the inspiration images and I did cut them out and print them and put them in the back of the book, and I put the name on the back. And they're not all human eyes. Some are dog eyes. And they're in the back of the journal, and the name is on the back. And so it also is like, at some point, it's going to be a game for people to see if they can match up these pictures with the painting to see whose eyeball is whose. I think this is the first, and there's the doodle one of that. I think it's the first time I've done a flip of this on social media anywhere. Yeah, so you have the printed out references. And the other thing that's good about the printed out references are that if you take this on the road somewhere and you're traveling or visiting, you can still continue working on it because you've got your reference photos, as long as you bring a small paint set with you. That one's my sister. I did date some of these because I started it in 2019 because I did scan some of these and send them to the person when I was done. I gave them a copy. That's my dad with his crazy Einstein eyebrows. And so I just did the whole book that way. Son-in-law. He's got this really sort of intense eyeball. Yeah, so it's just, and it doesn't have to be eyeballs. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you want to do a botanical one, or maybe you want to do, I don't know. Well, I have the other one. It's a lips journal. I haven't worked in it in a little bit, but it's on my desk to be worked in. So yeah, so it can be doodly. It doesn't have to be realistic. So fun fact about me, I don't like doing realism. So because I want it to be like the photograph, and I never feel like I can achieve that because that's just not how I work. And it honestly doesn't make me happy. It just makes me annoyed. So I gave up trying to do too much realism a long time ago. This is the most you're going to see out of me. Yeah, Deborah Weir. That's the name I was looking for, Laura. I'm a big fan of her work, and I have her book downstairs. So I'm currently collecting pictures of lips, just FYI. I have people send me pictures of their lips, smiling lips, crying lips, pierced lips. I'd love some pierced lips. I actually want to see if I can find a reference photo for vampire lips, because that would be cool. For the lips journal, which we'll look at in a minute, what I do have. I don't have much done in there yet right now. Yeah, I don't think realism is, for me, it's not the best creative expression for me. And again, this is the most that I would do. I did have fun doing this because it was a challenge, but then I also knew I was going to take something inspired by this and do that on the back. And I had people try to send me, I asked them to send me all different kinds of expressions on their eyes and their lips. And I used a very basic watercolor set for this. In fact, it's my little set that I do take traveling with me. And it has very basic colors in it. Scared eye, happy eye, crying eye. This is my grand dog, Lily. Because at some point I'm like, I'm just doing humans. What about dogs? And then and this is her doodle eye. And then our sweet grumpy dog, Bandit, died shortly after we moved. He passed away. He was suffering from cancer. And I went and looked back for a picture of his eye because I thought if I'm going to add Lily to the book, then I really want to add Bandit to the book. So I added Bandit to the book. And I love this version of his doodle eye because he just looks very confused. And the poor soul, yes, he was sick, but he was so very confused about the move. He didn't know what to make of that. Yeah, so I think so now, and I think she's in the Lips journal. We'll open it and see. I haven't printed the reference photos yet. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we miss him and have thought briefly about getting another dog, but I don't want to clean up poop. I really found it interesting to capture the shadows around the eye. I am the type of painter, when I do anything close to realism, I like to suggest the eyelashes rather than paint them in. So I found that interesting to try to do. This is actually a page that I tipped in. I don't remember why. I think because I had to add a page to the book because I had too many eyeballs. There might be more than one tip in, but I don't think so. Oh, cool. We're looking at the eyeball journal. Yeah. So, and at some point, we'll get back to work in the Lips journal, hopefully soon. We'll look at that one next. I haven't worked it in a while. I know some of you all sent me pictures, and I have to print them and work on them. Uh-oh, Linda. Don't respond to the text message. Go straight to your credit card company. There was a video by one of the seamstresses I follow on YouTube the other day where she had a problem. So be careful, be cautious. So that's the eyeball journal. And then again, these are all the reference photos. And I just put them back here like this. And it lives with my other journals in the other room. Again, journals aren't something I usually get rid of. I have trouble getting rid of any of my art, but the journals I really get attached to. This is the eyeball journal. I mean, the Lips journal. This is a different one. You can see when you look at this, the spine is much bigger on the Pentalic journal than the Moleskine. You can see, if I take the plastic out, both of them kind of have some warpage on the paper. So from getting wet. Oh, hang on a second. I don't think either one is better than the other. So fun fact about me and watercoloring, I have Arches hot press watercolor paper. Unless I'm doing something for a client or that needs scanning, I don't use it. I like cheap paper. I like Strathmore and that kind of thing. Moleskine watercolor paper works fine for me. They all warp. I haven't found one yet that doesn't warp. This one is a Moleskine journal. And it's little. Let's see. I have a ruler. Hang on. Ugh. Whoops. Oops. All right. So this one is about 5.5 by 3 3/4. And this one should be about this. They should be the same. Yeah, just about 5.5 by 3.5. I can give you links later because I'm pretty sure I bought them both on Amazon. See you later, Petra. I think they're pretty equal for me, to be honest. If you're going to take it traveling and you want to just take the journal and maybe a watercolor box, this one is nice because it does have a pen loop and you could put a water brush in there. And so that would be really handy. And then you just have this in your watercolor box. It would fit great in your backpack. But this one is fine too. And I work in a lot of moleskins. I have moleskin cahiers downstairs. I have 2 or 3 other moleskins off of that way. I'm working out up here. I do like moleskin, and I like the moleskin paper. Now this is the lips journal. I don't think I've printed any of the things yet. Nope. So I need to print the reference photos, which I haven't done yet. Now I haven't done these doodly. I've just been doing them this way. This is a friend of my sister's, a man, and he has the most beautiful set of lips. I don't think I did them justice. I may at some point add doodle lips to this, but I haven't done that yet. And you can see here the paper warps in the moleskin. If you are worried about the paper staying flat, I will say that it does. The Pentalic has probably a little higher quality paper because you can see that it's a little flatter than the moleskin. The moleskin gets pretty wavy. The Pentalic journals are really nice. They're just a little, for me, they're a little harder to get, and they're more expensive than the moleskin. I tend to be pretty cheap about stuff, and if Michael's had Pentalics, and I would wait until they had their buy one get one free like sale on things, and then I would get 2 of these. But this is a good journal. It's just expensive. This one's probably better to travel with because it's thinner, but the chunkiness of this one is really nice. But you have to remember, I kind of like chunky journals, but this one's nice. But again, I have a lot of moleskins. I have another one up here. This is the same as that one. I think this one's empty. Oh no, it's not either. I lied. Huh. I started doing botanical stuff in this one and just random like watercolors. I forgot about that. So that's another one. I have lots of journals on my desk. They're all like half done. Yeah, so if you like a chunky journal, then the Pentalic is going to work for you. And again, this is one, my watercolor travel box, which is, I can't get out right now because it's packed away. But it is the same size as this Sennelier set. So you could take, when we can travel again, you could take this journal, you can put a water brush in the pen loop or not. You could just put a pen in the pen loop. Anyway, you get the idea. A water brush and this is a good small set for traveling. You really don't need more than that. And then, then you have a lot of pages to work on too, and you're not going to run out of room if you're, a crazy artist person who doesn't like to not have something to do, like me. So this is the little Pentalic. They do come in all different sizes. And again, the paper does stay a little flatter than the moleskin. Yeah, so you don't need a big box. Now this is a Sennelier set, which I love. It's just basic. This is just how it came. But you could take the inner thing out. So my travel set, I took this out. And if you take this out, you can get 8 more pans in here than the 12 it comes with. So if you have particular colors that you find that you're mixing all the time. So I would recommend starting with a basic set. But then if you find, say, for instance, you're mixing teal all the time, you're getting really tired of mixing teal all the time, Go find a teal watercolor paint, get an empty half pan, and add it to your set. The one thing that does is white. So I usually either have a small tube of white gouache or a white gel pen or a pan of titanium white. But you can get, this is acrylic gouache, but you can get just a small tube. You can get a watercolor, white watercolor, Chinese white watercolor. You can get a really tiny tube, and you can get them, sometimes they'll even fit in here. Like they have really teeny tiny tubes. Let's see. Okay, this isn't white. This is a different color, but I would always say white because white is a great mixing color, and you can take, say, this phthalo blue and make a pastel blue, and also make it more opaque if you have a tube of Chinese white. So this is a core. This is not white, but you can get this in there. It may not close all the way, and maybe you need to have it, maybe you put that in there, or maybe it's just, you know, in a little bag with your brush and your pen. But I would recommend one of these little tiny tubes of white. Or again, or adding a pan of Chinese white. Any brand, it just doesn't matter what the brand is. I don't have the white right now because I think I'm out, but one of my favorite brands of white is just the Dick Blick brand, or their sister store, Utrecht. They have their brand of artist watercolor, and their ivory black and their Chinese white are great. And yeah, it would fit right in the center. And especially if you took this insert out and you took all these pans and maybe glued them down and left that space in the middle, then you could get that tube of watercolor in the middle between the pans. You also can get one of the koi watercolor brushes that actually come apart for travel and have a plug in them, and it would probably fit in there too. There's lots of different ways to do that, and then you just have this and this, and you're good, and maybe a pen in the pen loop. There's always a way, and right now I know we can't travel, but maybe you just are like me and you want to go on a walk to the park and you want to sit and do a little painting. Do that. If it's not raining, actively raining outside, even if it's cold, get some hand warmers. Yeah, so get some hand warmers and put them in your gloves or in your galoshes and go for a walk and go sit in the park and do a painting. Yeah, you totally can just take a corner or squeeze in a little empty pan and just put some white in there. So yeah, so this is a water brush here. This is the Pentel, and this is my favorite water brush. One of them. I use them so much that at some point I have to throw them out because I mess up the bristles. These are easy. Then you don't have to bring water with you. You just really need the one thing I would put in here is I would put a little piece of cloth or a little piece of paper towel so that in between colors you had something to like clean your brush off on. And what I usually do is close this like this, and then with the color key, I usually have a little piece of paper towel in there that's just for doing that. Now, Koi makes a water brush that actually comes in two pieces, and the top unscrews, and there's this black plug that sits here that holds the water in. And I can tell you from experience, it does not leak because I've taken those on airplanes full. They do not leak. The bottom is a little bit shorter than this one. And then because it's in two pieces, you can fit it in the watercolor box pretty easily if you take that insert out. But I mean, if you have a water brush, just take the one you have. Don't buy anything special. Use what we have. I do think it's a great idea, and I didn't do it until towards the end of this one. And I have to do it for the Lips journal, is to print off your reference photos. If you're working on a journal like this, print them off and have them in the back. If you're taking a journal with you that you just want to do random paintings in, like this one, then it doesn't matter, because then you can just paint what's in front of you. I do. Okay, so here's a good reason why that plastic was in here. You see this? I tend to be messy. So this is a piece of plastic packaging that I usually cut to be a little bit bigger than whatever journal I'm working in, to protect the other pages, because I'm messy. So, I mean, sometimes I don't care, because, you know, it's just a journal. Nobody's going to ever see it but me, well, and you guys. But, you know, I try to be as neat as possible. The biggest thing is I tend to be so messy, like with mediums and stuff, that I tend to like get them all over the edges, and then I glue the pages together. So that's a problem. So get a piece of plastic packaging from just whatever you guys have around. Could be a food thing, it doesn't matter. And just cut a piece that's a little bigger than your journal. If you have standard sizes of journals you like to work in, like these, then I have a few of these particular size pieces of plastic that will fit in journals that are this way, or ones that open this way. Because I like this, I like smaller journals. But all my working journals, you'll find pieces of plastic in them. This one actually goes in the Lips journal. On this pair of lips, which might be Nell's granddaughter, I don't remember now. I wanted to really use other colors for the highlight color. Like I wanted to practice with greens, limey greens for the highlight color, and then like violets for the shadow. I really like the way that turned out. And I want to do more of that in here than the doodly ones. Doesn't mean I won't do the doodly ones, but yeah. Yeah, so these plastic, that's something I've been doing a long time, and you'll notice I have it in the December daily, because hello. When I'm working in journals like this where I'm doing double page spreads, there'll be 2 of them. And here's another moleskin. So this is I repurposed these old planners. This is a Moleskine weekly notebook from 2017, 2018. And I bought this to use as an art journal, so I never did planning stuff in it. And a lot of times you can get these, you know, expired ones at clearance on like at Staples or something. Like January, February, they'll start putting them on sale, and I'll pick them up really cheap. I like the moleskins because the spines are stitched, and my journals will start to look like this. And if the spine is not stitched, that's not going to hold up. This one I started a while ago, and I discovered that I really detest waxing my pages. You can, of course, and it works, but they still can be sticky. So I started going back to the way I used to do things in the beginning, which is putting wax paper in between when I was done. And that way the pages don't stick together. But then I'm transitioning this one over this way into using the gouache paints. I have to do some more work in here, but here's some more of that plastic. You can see how well loved that plastic is. Now, if you don't have packaging you can use to cut these, the dollar stores have plastic cutting mats, thin ones. This is a piece of their plastic cutting mat, and I will buy 1 or 2 packs. They have, I think, 3 in a pack, and I use them for making these. And then I use the scraps for making labels on some of the baskets and bins in my art room. But yeah. So if your journals are a little bit on the fat, messy side, you're not alone. Mine are too. Oh, that reminds me. I think I need to do the December mission inspiration still. Yeah, dollar store cutting mats. They're my favorite thing for the art space from the dollar store. And they work great for this kind of thing especially. And the best thing is you can cut them with a pair of standard scissors. You don't need anything special. I do like to round the corners. So I do use one of my old corner punches to round the corners, but you don't have to do that. And or you could do that with a pair of scissors. And you don't need to have Sennelier. I want to make that clear. I like watercolor, so I have kind of a collection. I've purged a bit of it over the years. But, you know, any watercolors will do. If you're not sure you like watercolor and you want to try it, don't spend a ton of money on a set of watercolors, because what if you hate it? I started with like a $5 set of watercolors. I really love them. I actually panned most of the set, and that just means I use them up and hit pan at the bottom. And when I had to replace them, then I got a little bit better set. If you already know you like watercolor and you want a small set, well, that's a different conversation. If you don't want to start out with a super cheap dollar set, you know, Koi makes a really good watercolor paint, and their boxes are not this small, but they make a decent paint. There's a few other brands out there that make decent paints, including Van Gogh and, oh my God, my brain is blank. But there's a few, and they make them in sets like this. A lot of the craft stores will carry something like this, and you can use a 40% off coupon. So, you know, if you're at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, you know, Prima, that's it, Prima. Thank you, Kristen. So what I would say is that you want to have a set that has a nice range of primary colors in it so that you can mix. And if you get a basic set like this with just a few colors, then you can, yeah, I do too. I like my watercolor paint, so I have quite a few different ones. But if you get a basic set like this to start with, then you have your dark. I like Payne's Gray for dark rather than black personally, but it will probably have a brown and something dark blackish color. And then it'll have a blue, red, and yellow, and you can mix all your colors from there. It'll have some other colors that you can use, convenience colors. But you start with a basic set like this, and then again, figure out what colors you're mixing all the time. And then you know what colors you need to add to your set, or when you do upgrade to a new set, what colors you need to have included in that set. The only one, again, that's not in this particular set that I would recommend is some kind of Chinese white. I use it all the time to pastel colors to make them more opaque. I use it as some of my mixing. So not only in watercolor, but in the gouache too. I like, my favorite brand is Dick Blick. I mean, sorry. Not Dick Blick. Daniel Smith. My favorite brand is Daniel Smith. They're made here in the US in Washington State, and they do now have some sets in boxes, but they generally don't have that. Yeah, so I do take a couple of water brushes with me when I travel, and a couple of regular brushes and a collapsible cup. Yes. So I did use the Chinese white in the eyeball book. So was used in some of the flesh tones. In mixing some of the flesh tones. So I had to mix the flesh tones. I do own a flesh tone palette, but when I started this journal, I wanted to mix flesh tones. So you need to mix your brown. So you know what colors on the color wheel will make brown. Blue and orange will make brown. So if you do blue and orange, they're going to make brown. If you do purple and green, it's going to make brown. Oh, nice. And so then I would make a tone of brown, and then I would add more yellow to it or red to it or blue to it to get it the right tone to match the inspiration photo. Then I would lighten it with some white and or add water. That was my method. I do, of course, use Chinese white a lot when I'm doing things like these skyscape paintings. There we go. That one had some lint on it. But I don't use it just for that. Like that one. And also, I'm not, I'm a big Jean Haynes fan, and she says in one of her books that, it's okay to go back over your watercolor paintings with Chinese white to bring out lost highlights and lost white space, and or to use a white gel pen. And I'm definitely that person. Most of us here that are watching are mixed media artists, and there is no shame in going back to your watercolor painting or your gouache painting when it's done and adding in highlights or lowlights with a white gel pen or a black pen. I usually always have, at minimum, a water brush, a black pen, and a white gel pen, generally speaking. If I'm bringing my full travel case, then I have a couple of really nice, good quality travel watercolor brushes that I do bring with me, and white paint pen. And I have let's be honest, I have a few things. But at minimum, these, and especially if I'm like doing urban sketching, then I'm just going to bring a water brush and not a watercolor brush with a bowl that I have to have a cup of water for. These are more convenient when you're not going to be like at a table or someplace where you have ready access to water. But they don't work the same as a regular watercolor brush. Laura is correct about that. They're a little different. So they may take a little practice if you're used to using a regular brush. Yeah, so mixed media artists. So we have no rules. You might prefer doing it mostly in watercolor, but that doesn't mean you have to be stuck with that. In fact, on this one, I toyed with the idea of doing the sort of rays coming out of the sun with a gel pen, but I did finally get the look that I wanted with the paint, but I was just about to give up with that. But there's no harm in that, no shame in that. And on this book, I did do some of these even on the realistic side. Let me see if I can find one where it shows here. So I did the highlights in the eye, and my dad is in his 80s. So, he's more white haired than not. And so, the hint of the white gray eyelashes, the, kind of highlights around his eye on the skin, the gray hairs in his eyebrow. I call Einstein eyebrows. Those are all done with gel pen. Those are not done with paint. There are no rules in art. Nope, I agree. And this one too, most of the white highlights and the reflections in the eyes in this journal, they're done with gel pen. My favorite gel pen is the Uniball Signo Broad, although I do have a love-hate relationship with gel pens because they clog on me all the time. But I'm finding that's probably my fault because I was traditionally using them over shiny paints. Shiny paints and gel pens do not get along, and they clog them. I have much less problem using them on matte finish paints like watercolor and gouache. Yes, agreed. So fat over lean means that if you're going to do something, this one, if you're going to do art and you want to use like an oil pastel in your journal, then you cannot do easily, if at all, watercolor or acrylic paint and or pen on top of that, because that would be lean over fat and it doesn't work. So you need to have your watercolor or your acrylic or your pen or your marker underneath, or put the oil pastel in a place where you don't want any of those things. I don't remember whose eyeball that is. Yeah, fat over lean. So, you know, a lot of oil painters that I know, pretty famous ones that I'm friends with, will start off their oil paintings with acrylic, and they'll do a basic kind of layout and sort of starter textures, underpainting, if you will, with acrylic paint. And then they'll go over that with the oil paint once they kind of figure out a direction of where the painting is going to go. Because you can do that and the oil paint will stick just fine. But you can't go over oil paint with acrylic paint. It doesn't stick and it will never dry. And again, I'm discovering after years of art journaling the benefits of matte finish paints. And I really enjoy the matte finish paints in my journals. And I'm going to be switching out, except for my fine art paints, which I'm going to leave. They're going to be fine for what they are. But I think all my craft paints are going to be switched out and or used up to something that's matte finish. Yeah, so you can use the oil-based PBO over acrylic or watercolor for highlights or additional mark making and shadow, additional interest and texture to whatever you're working with. But you can't use your other mediums on top of it. And the same goes for oil pastels, which I don't have a lot of anymore because I just don't like working with them. And I don't like working with any of those in my journals because they just seem like they're always sticky, like forever sticky, even after they're dry, in my opinion, anyways. They're not my favorite. Matte finish, ballpoint pens, gel pens, the occasional acrylic paint pen, and that's pretty much that's it. And this is just a Bic Crystal, my favorite journaling pen. I like this answering questions if I know, and if I don't know, somebody else in the chat knows the answer to the question. Oh, the metallic PBOs, oil-based metallics. So I don't do a lot with metallic paint anymore. I do own some, and I probably have way too many because for what I do with them. Again, that's something I will use for a little bit of a highlight on something that I'm going to then clear coat, usually not in my journals. Sometimes as an accent on a canvas, stretch canvas. I will be using up some of those too because I got rid of most of my metallic pens even because they're just not my jam. And you know, there's no shame in if you get an art supply that you bought you bought an art supply to try and you don't like it, don't force yourself to keep using it. So you can do some things like I do, and that's some of the stuff that ends up in the purge boxes, things that just no longer speak to me. You also can find a shelter. We have a local shelter here in town, a women and family shelter, and they have an art class there, and they encourage women to, work through their issues in art, which is great. And I will occasionally take boxes of things over there for them. Yeah, you need mineral spirits to clean them, which stink and usually set my asthma off, which is another reason why I don't use it. You also need to be working in great ventilation. Laura is very knowledgeable about art and art products. So she's a great friend to have in your bank of art friends. Gelatos have like a waxy finish. So for me, gelatos are in the same category as oil pastels, where they would be my last layer on the page before I was done, because you can't really write over them. There are some watercolor crayons that I think are a little easier to work with and less waxy. So they're easier to work in the page and then if you want to work over them, but none of them are great. And with the gelatos, if you want to do something over the top of them, you really kind of have to dissolve them with water, not just smear them with your finger. And they have to be really, really good and dry for you to even have a chance. Gelatos, fun fact, are something I purged. I don't own anymore. I got rid of. Not a fan. Gelatos and my Prismacolor pencils. I kept a few colors that I loved in the Prismacolors, and I got rid of the rest. Not a fan. You know my favorite colored pencil? Crayola. Yeah, so you can do that. And you can put a matte medium over the top of them, but I don't think I still had issue with them when I did that. It was better than not having the matte medium on the top, but I still had issue. Yeah, I don't own any anymore. In fact, I think I had a couple of purples, but let's see. Yeah, no. The crayons that I do like using are these. So these are by Daniel Smith, and these are a watercolor crayon. These are like hard watercolor pigment in a stick. Sometimes instead of one of these, I'll take these with me traveling, because you can like take the stick and grab some of the pigment this way with your water brush. Yeah, Inktense is nice. And some of these crayons like Inktense or like these Daniel Smith, you can add some of these highlight and shadow colors with. Some of them do come in metallics, and they're easier to go over with if you want to do something on top of it than the ones that have a waxy finish. It's not that gelatos are bad, they just have a waxy finish. Yeah, so I prefer something that is intended to be more of a watercolor crayon because it's less waxy. Yeah, the Daniel Smith sticks are great. And if you are in Seattle and you can get to the Daniel Smith factory store safely if it's open, they have those Daniel Smith sticks that you can just buy one at a time. And if you go to a fine art store and they carry them, it'll be what they call open stock. And so you don't have to get a whole set of them. You can just buy one or two colors and try them. Buy open stock. Even if you're doing Inktense, don't feel like you have to. I'm guilty of this, so I'm speaking from experience. Don't feel like, oh, Inktense, ooh, I might like those. I need this set of like 200. No, you don't. No, you don't. Buy either the really small set and try them, or if they have open stock from wherever you're getting them from, get one or two in your favorite colors and try them. You don't need to go spend a whole bunch of money on a whole giant set of stuff that you're probably never going to use half of what's in there. They do carry the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks at all your big art supply online shops. Open stock is always best. If you're going to order online because of the pandemic and everything's that's going on right now, a lot of these shops, if you spend a certain amount, will have free shipping. If you're not needing to order enough to justify that, then maybe you want to go in with a friend or a neighbor and do an order together. A lot of places will do curbside pickup. We have a Dick's Blick near us, and I can order online and do curbside pickup. So one of the benefits to being in the Portland area, there's a couple of Dick Blicks up here. All right, I think that's it for today, ladies. I am going to let things dry and clear off my table. I probably will be painting some more of these later. I'm going to add these two inspiration photos to the Skyscapes albums in the 2 Facebook art groups. So look for those, and then you're free to use any of those paintings as they are, pictures as they are, or as inspiration for artwork. I would love to see what you're doing. And the watercolor paint sticks are great from Daniel Smith. I'm a big fan of them. I don't use them nearly enough. But when I was doing the purge of crayons and stuff, they are something I kept. They're great to travel with because, maybe you don't want to take one of these. You can just, and I have them in this little teeny tiny, like Gladware box. I can just take that box and again, a water brush and a pen and a journal, and I'm good. They travel really well. You guys are more than welcome, and I would love to see what you're doing on social media. Please tag me in the post if you do something inspired by anything that I do or we've talked about. If you have ideas about art supplies, that's one of the things the 2 Facebook art groups are for. If you have a tip, a hint, especially like we were discussing about working with fat over a lean and the best ways to do that or not do that, I'd love to have that conversation started in one or both art groups. So let's do that. Don't forget to support the free content on YouTube and in the Facebook art groups, not just mine. You have a favorite content creator. They probably have an Etsy shop or something. Find out and support them if you can. And, stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy, stay creative. Please wear a mask and go out and do something nice for yourself because you deserve it. I'll see you later. And maybe next week, when we're done with our bonus page, we'll work back in the lips journal and I'll try to get my lips printed. And if you have lip pictures you want to send me to use, please do so. My email address is in the description. Bye, guys.